Last night, Jeremy Corbyn called for an end to arms supplies to Ukraine. And guess what? This morning, Donald Trump delivered. Trump has paused all military aid to Ukraine to try to force Zelensky to basically surrender. And this morning, Diane Abbott has tweeted that the Ukrainians don't want to fight to the last Ukrainian. And too right, Diane, they do not, because if they are forced into defeat and the Russian army plows over eastern Ukraine, raping, torturing, stealing children as it did in 2022, there'll be tens of millions of refugees leaving Ukraine for Europe, and we'll have the worst refugee crisis ever. Now, I think this mind bending event in world history that we are living through, which changes every day, has to be understood. It's not just that the Americans want to walk away from the defence of Europe. That's a given. It's that they're doing it in such a way that is designed to disrupt both Europe and European democracy and to weaken us in a way that leaves our democracies and our security open to threats from Russia. That's why Western capitals are so dismayed at what Donald Trump is doing. And amidst all this important high-level geopolitical stuff, I do want to just comment on the record of the British far left in this war. Some have been exemplary and they've supported Ukraine, they've raised money. There are people right now from the far left, including the unions, in Kiev, in the Donbass, delivering stuff raised by the British Labour movement. What a fantastic thing that is. But let's face it, there's been a section of the left that from the get-go has supported Putin, either in words or by mealy-mouthed platitudes that cover up for their inaction over what's happening. Andrew Murray, star writer of the Morning Star, former Corbyn aide, wrote a book in 2014 basically saying that Putin's claim on Ukraine is justified. We've got The Communist, used to be the militant and socialist appeal, basically saying Trump's a better president than Biden. We need to call this what it is. It's Stalinism. And many of us in the Labour movement have worked alongside people who are distastefully believe this bullshit, but not anymore. Sorry. I don't think it's right. I don't want, for example, any more emails from left-wing members of or so-called left-wing members of Labour NEC telling me if we can spend money on arms, why can't we spend money on aid? Of course, we should be spending more money on aid. I'm against that cut to aid. But this is mealy-mouthed rubbish, comrades. It is cover-up for the fact that you have done nothing and are doing nothing to support Ukraine in the anti-fascist war. And you are now actively in danger of undermining the efforts of a Labour government to rearm, retool the UK military in such a way that allows us to push back any further threats from Russia. Those of you who know your history will know we've been here before. German Communist Party in its ultra-left period said Social Democrats are the main enemy, they're worse than the fascists, and that's why they felt inclined to launch a joint referendum campaign with the Nazis to overthrow a social democratic government. In Germany, there is nothing to say that Stalinism, as a historic political phenomenon, horrible though it is, can't evolve even further. There is nothing that says it can't become fascist. And if you look at what some people on the American left, on the so-called confusionist left, very aligned to politicians like Tulsi Gabbard, very aligned to Putin, what they've done is they've become Trump cheerleaders. And don't be shocked if that's what happens to parts of the British left. For the rest of us, there is a big mental leap to be made, I'm afraid. We are going into a period where the only thing that's going to stop Putin from aggressing Finland, Estonia, Moldova, and beyond, to be honest, is a very strong united response from Europe. And this morning, Europe has unleashed something like $500 billion in potential defence spending over the next 10 years, which, by the way, will revive European manufacturing, and it will sure as heck boost the European economy, which is stagnating. And we're going to have to do the same. And so Even if you call yourself a pacifist, even if you call yourself an internationalist, even if you don't like America, if you don't like the idea of war, all of these things are very deeply rooted in the British tradition, aren't they? The British left tradition. Like our grandparents' generation, we're going to have to overcome pacifism. We're going to have to overcome indifference to warfare and alienation from all that kind of military elite stuff that turns many of us off. We're going to have to overcome that because that's the only way we can defend ourselves in future. We're going to need to unite with the Europeans. We're going to need Keir Starmer to carry on what he's doing, which is showing leadership on a world stage. You should be proud of that Starmer is doing, even if you don't like some of the other stuff he's done. What you cannot do is go on pretending that a pro-Russian, effectively pro-fascist part of the left has any place in the labour movement. And you can't go on saying, well, we agree on better pay and conditions, we agree on stopping the cuts or raising the two-child benefit so we can be in a joint campaign. No, not anymore for me. I think we need a new left. I think we need a left that is patriotic. We need a left that stands behind this Labour government and pushes it further and more radically towards net zero, towards greater social justice, towards taking on the things that really blight the lives of working class people, like organised crime. And we're going to have to support our armed forces. Coming up is the 80th anniversary of VE Day. And there'll be no doubt parades, King Charles will ride a horse or something. Great. But the real victors of World War II were the British people. Not just people in the armed forces. It was firefighters. It was police. It was women who worked on farms. It was women like my grandma who worked in arms factories. It was merchant seamen like my uncle who was sunk and survived in the North Atlantic. On VE Day, we'll celebrate all of them. And we'll celebrate the fact that as a people, we stuck together. Despite the class struggle, despite the differences, we're going to have to stick together again. And the left needs to play its role in that. It is decision time for every one of us. What are we going to do? Which side are we on? Same question that every picket line poses. Well, Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump have posed that question once again. Which side are we on? I'm on the side of democracy, freedom, the rule of law, anti-fascism. And in the anti-fascist struggle that is coming, let's hope that every person who calls themselves left-wing, will stand up and be counted alongside everybody else in this society. Because if you don't, in the 30s, what the left did in the 30s, starting with the Battle of Cable Street and then the Battle of Jarama, we helped us shape the peace. There will be a peace, there will be order, Putin will go, hopefully Xi Jinping will one day fall, and the world will be more democratic. And at that point, Russian and Chinese workers will say, well, what did you do to help this? What did you do to help us overthrow the people who were trying to put trade unionists in jail and jail gay people? What did you do? Well, look at the Morning Star and they'll say, you went to China and you said it was a socialist country. We need a better left than that. Please help me, join me in trying to create a left that will stand up to the global challenge that now faces us.